So before we start coding, we must first do our initial setup. First, download the CSV file provided in the Google Drive and save the file into a folder, and make sure to place the folder somewhere you may easily find. The CSV file is the dataset that we'll be using for our demonstration as well as for the exercise. Next, create a new Python file in VS Code and immediately click on Save As, and make sure to save the file in the folder where the CSV file is located. This step is highly recommended because doing so will allow Python to easily find and use the dataset for data mining. Next, go to the top left corner of VS Code and click on File. Then click on Open Folder and locate the folder where the Python file and the CSV file are located, so that VS Code can easily locate both files so that they may work together without any problem. Now, we perform a pip install of the pandas library in Python by typing the code python3-m pip install pandas in the terminal, and make sure to type pandas with an S, otherwise it will not do anything. And once finished, we can start coding. For the first part, we should import pandas in our Python file by typing import pandas as pd. Then, for us to use the data found in the CSV file, we should assign a variable to the dataset file. Now, let's say we want the variable to be named data. So, we type in the code data is assigned to pd.read underscore CSV, open and close parentheses, student underscore spending.csv. And as we can see, the item we type in the parentheses is the name of the CSV file you downloaded. Make sure to type exactly the name of the CSV file, otherwise Python will not recognize it. This line of code allows us to use the pandas library to tap into the dataset file and base our outputs on the data found in the file.
For the first part of this demonstration of the functions, we will first ask Python to show us some general information about the data we will be using from our CSV file. This is important because before you start mining for specific data, you should know at the very least what type of data you are dealing with, and you should also know what could be the types of data that you can try to mine for. To do this, let's first create a new variable named info and assign it to data.info followed by parentheses at the end. Then we print and then run. In our code, data will be the dataset that we are using, and info is the function we will use to get a concise summary of the dataset's contents. And as you can see in the terminal, our output shows the index of the columns as well as the names of each column, and we can also see the different data types per column. In our case, we will only be using integers and objects, or also known as strings, but in other datasets you may also find floats and boolean values. Lastly, we can also see the number of non-null entries for each column, which are 50 entries for each column in this example. Also, just a little side note, I place empty print functions after each example just so that there would be a space in between each output so that it would not look too crowded. Next, let's say we now want to find the number of entries in each specific age group. All we have to do is first create another variable, we can name it ages, and assign it to data followed by square brackets and the name of the column we are going to use, which is the age column from our dataset, followed by the function value underscore counts with parentheses at the end. Then we print our variable, then we click run. As mentioned earlier, age is the name of the column found in the CSV file, and we are simply trying to narrow down the type of data we want to look into. And value underscore counts allows us to find the count of how many times a specific value occurs in the age column. And as you see in our output, the age group that's on top is the one that has the most number of occurrences, followed by the rest of the groups in descending order. For the last example, let's try to make our output use two columns in our dataset, and let's say we want to know the average income per age group. To do that, we would need to make use of another function called the groupBy function. We create another variable, which we can name age underscore income, then we assign it to data.groupBy followed by parentheses, then we use the age column again, and then we enter the second column that we want to use, which is the monthly underscore income, column found in our CSV file. Then we add .mean followed by parentheses at the end since we're trying to look for the average monthly income. Then we print age_income, then run. For this example, the group by function allows us to sort through each of the data found in the age column and turn them into groups. The monthly_income.mean portion allows us to get the average monthly income per age group. This portion sorts the data by age and then calculates the average within each age group. And now, based on our output, we have the average monthly income per age group.